forever in this, and the ocean floor doesn't really drop. But out here across the eastern shores, there's a much steeper incline, and so that water goes in and it forces it to break. So you have a lot more waves out here. This is a lot of wave energy that is all going to continue to get piled up here in towards Biscayne Bay and towards Miami and across parts of the eastern shore. That's why we're still so concerned about the east shore with storm surge and the west shore with storm surge. It's not just kind of a one side from this, but you're right, moving over the islands.
Rick, 34-foot waves in the lower Keys?
Out to the sea, that's what we've got. Yeah, absolutely. So you got the storm surge and the waves on top of that. And you said it right here, you know, that it's that fabled thing of being in the eye of a hurricane. I've never done that, never experienced it. But these guys right here in Cujo Key are having that going on right now, which has got to be a pretty spectacular thing after the fright you had right there, and the fright that's about to come back over you here. But
that's an incredible map.
Right there in the middle of it. But yeah, headed right up here all across the eastern seaboard. Not out of the question that it cuts a little farther towards the west, eventually would make landfall somewhere around Appalachia, Cola, or just to points east, or maybe it goes somewhere onshore here. We really can't tell you. Storm surge is going to be a really localized thing. It will pull offshore in some areas, then eventually on the back side of it pull on in as the wind's direction shifts. Because we have the storm moving parallel to the coast, it's a little bit different than some of these hurricanes that you see that move directly onshore and cause that storm surge on that right front quadrant. So it's going to be a little bit of a different thing here. In some of these areas, our storm surge modeling shows the storm surge going miles inland because the coast is just so flat. And think about it, if you got a 15-foot storm surge, but I live at 14 feet above sea level, then maybe I have a foot. But if I live at 10 feet, I've got 4 feet. So you know, all of those things are really
what are they usually just
based off of kind of exactly where your house is or your neighborhood is, and that's going to be the big differences here. But such a spectacular storm to have tracked all this time, spectacular meteorologically speaking, frightening because of all the damage that it can do as well.
Do you have that Cujo Key frame again, where the eye is going ashore? I ask because the eye of the storm is now to the west of Marathon, and this whole center here, Rick, it's quiet on that key right now for a few minutes.
Quiet, completely quiet. I mean, if there's anybody there, and there probably are a few people there, they can walk out, look up in the sky, probably see blue sky, have kind of no wind at all right now, after they've just gone through 130-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So that's what they've got going on right here. By the way, these islands don't do anything to disrupt that eye at all. That will happen once it makes landfall towards the north. There's a little shear eventually later today, Shep. It's also going to start breaking the storm apart a little bit, which will be good news. But in the short term, that's not the case. The water's still warm. Some of our models indicating maybe a little more strengthening still as it pulls up towards the north. But there you go. This is such an amazing picture when you see that just exactly where that storm is right now.
Just to the right of Cujo Key would be Big Pine Key, and Big Pine Key has a really strong eye wall on it all the way up to Marathon. You wonder how that overseas highway is going to hold up through there, Rick.
Scary. It hasn't gone through anything like this. Maybe, you know, certainly not in a very long time. Hurricane Donna was kind of a similar thing, but it didn't have the history of this storm. You know, this storm was the longest, strongest storm anywhere on the planet in our, at least in satellite era, so since the 60s, when you think about that. And the West Pacific, places like the Philippines, Taiwan, they get the crazy, really strong hurricanes. They call them typhoons, but it's the exact same thing. But this one is just like that. 185 miles lasting that long. That means there's a lot of water that's pushed in with that. It's not, you have a hurricane that pops up to be a hurricane and goes back down. It doesn't have a chance to pile up that much water. This one has been piling up water for a better part of a week.
Rick Reichmuth in the Extreme Weather Center. Back to him as news warrants. Let's get right to Key Largo. Adam Housley out in it in Key Largo. Man, Adam, how goes?
Yeah, Trevor, you talked about the interstate highway just now with Rick. We checked on that last night. You know the keys real well. And it's something like the highway goes over the water. Last night, the water going about midnight. The water is just pushing in within a blast of the interstate highway. It was about 3 feet deep on the ocean side. And here on the bay side, the water hasn't come up much. It's all been about wind and rain. I'm going to step away, give you an idea. Look at these trees right here. We're getting gusts over 100 miles an hour here, Shepard. And we're, a good distance from that eye wall. So the way we're told, we're going to be about 45 miles from the eye wall, maybe 60 miles from the eye wall as it gets up towards the mainland. But as you can tell right now, the wind, the rain, the water is just flowing across these keys. Nothing's stopping it. It's snapping trees in half. We've seen large branches just blow by without any issue whatsoever, almost like a piece of grass blowing in the wind. I see nobody out. This is the first hurricane in a couple of years we've been covering it, but I haven't seen anybody out and about walking. I mean, here at our secure location, people might get out and take a peek for a second or two, but for the most part, they're all staying inside and latched down. But when we had a chance to talk with the sheriff here in Monroe County yesterday, the sergeant in charge of this area, he was telling us he was very pleased about how many people took the warning and got out. They hope nobody's trying to ride this thing out in a wooden house or a mobile home or at even at sea level. If they didn't say, they hope it's going to look anything like this. But Shepard, you can see by looking at how I'm standing here, we're partially blocked to be in a secure location, and it's still just coming down and blowing through here with really nothing at all stopping it. This storm has some serious rage, Shepard. It's been going on here for nearly 24 hours. So the winds really started picking up yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning. We lost power by 10:30, and it has been nonstop ever since, Shepard.
Man, I've been watching our local station down there talking about the wind gusts well over 100 miles an hour, and that should continue for many hours.
I never thought otherwise.
Absolutely, and you know what makes it even worse is the size of this hurricane. The fact that the winds have been coming. I mean, yesterday at like 2 or 3 o'clock, it was sustained at 20 to 30, and then it gradually built up, of course, through the night. And when you have buildings and awnings and people and cars and large trees that have been taking that kind of stress for that length of time, and now you bring these 100-mile-an-hour plus winds on top of it, it's going to be brutal here, Shepard. I mean, we saw a lot of damage yesterday, well before anything like this came down.
Adam Housley live with us. You guys got a plan? I mean, if things go south, what you do?
Yeah, we follow the plan that you guys taught us when we all started in this business, and that is to find something that's got a Cat 5 rated, Category 5 hurricane rated, meaning it can stand winds of 180 miles an hour. We found a phenomenal location, all masonite blocks, with windows on one side, with built-in storm sensors that are metal that I have to latch mine down myself. So we're safe and secure. The last thing we want to do is become part of the storm. When it gets too bad, we're going to go inside, shut our doors, and hunker down and try this thing out, Shepard.
Adam Housley, thank you for the pictures. Thank you to your crew as well. 8 a.m., the 9 a.m. update, which is just the end a few minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center. For wind speeds maximum 130 miles an hour. The central pressure is at 929 millibars, which is up a little bit, which is good news on some level. And the forward progress of this storm now 8 miles an hour. It's moving to the north-northwest at 8 miles an hour. That's the latest that we have from the National Hurricane Center. I want to show you where this eye is. This is South Florida. The storm obviously covers this entire region, but the eye itself, here's Miami, here's Naples, here's the Florida Keys. This is Key West, Cujo Key, and then Big Pine Key. Middle Torch Key there as well. I want to show you exactly where this eye is. This is Cujo Key up to Big Pine Key. So somewhere in this area, this is where the eye of the storm is right about now. So the outer bands of this storm, the worst of it all is always in this area. Big Pine Key has already gotten that. And then you go up toward Marathon, Duck Key, and all the way up to Islamorada, Plantation, and far up to Key Largo. All of this is being battered. Now, just above it, the land mass at the bottom of the state is the Everglades National Park. Big Cypress Preserve is down in that area as well. And the next thing you get to is Everglades City. Switch over to the other map, and you'll see this is Highway 41, Alligator Alley, coming 75 is Alligator Alley. Highway 41 coming from Miami through Everglades City, East City they call it, up into Marco Island and the Naples area. All of this, the Rookery Bay National Estuary Research Center here, Dismal Key, Marco Island, Naples, North Naples, Bonita Springs, up into Fort Myers and Cape Coral, all of that going to be pounded for many hours to come. The Fox Business Network's Jeff Flock is just up the coast from here. You go just north into Charlotte County, the town of Punta Gorda, which is, I don't know, 20, 25 miles north of Fort Myers. How's it there so far?
Yeah, well, just starting here, just starting. And of course, you know, in this town, and by the way, that's 41. That's the last route out to 75. Punta Gorda knows hurricanes and knows, you know, nobody should be surprised by this hurricane, but Punta Gorda was surprised by Charlie back in 2004 when it was supposed to go to Tampa. I think Bob's up on top of a parking garage up there and giving you a good picture. We're surrounded by water here, so You know, you got to really worry about storm surge out here. The other thing is, you know, when you've been through Charley, Bob, maybe if he spins around up from where he is, he's in a parking garage, the only public parking garage in Punta Gorda, and it is packed. Everybody has put their car in there. You can't get in the parking garage, and then has gotten out of town. A lot of people, most everybody, because once you've been through a Cat 4, which is what they were through in 2004, it's pretty nasty, and you think about staying again, thinking no.
Yeah. Hurricane Center says that it will get progressively worse there for the next 12 solid hours.
Well, we're going to try to stay out ahead of it. I'm going to try to jump in the car once it gets funky, and we're going to go up 75 and just chase it up the way there.
Jeff Flock from the Fox Business Network with a great look. Continuing coverage coming. Jeff Flock is there for us, and we have correspondents all up and down the coast and affiliated stations all the way. This is Miami area. The worst of it all right now, the middle Keys, middle to lower Keys. We do not know what it's like outside. We don't know the status of the overseas highway. We don't know what's happened to all the businesses that are along there. It is a marine community. It relies on fishing and tourism, and there won't be a lot of either of those for a long time to come. It's an area of the country that will need all of our help very soon and for a very long time.
This is a story about mail and packages, and it's also a story about people. And while we make more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country, we never forget that your business is our business. The United States Postal Service. Priority.
So I'm going to set a quick base. Yeah, the way that they handle things like that.
As a Hall of Fame coach, I know it takes the right combination of ingredients to win championships. Synodrin, powered by Immunodrin, is the most complete joint health supplement on the market today, combining 6 leading ingredients to make the best formula possible. Whether you're a weekend warrior or on your feet all day, why settle for less? Have the best with Synodrin Complete Joint Health.
Yeah,
Results guaranteed.
Buy one, get one free this week only at Walgreens.
Wayfair, they've got some really great sales.
I can't believe I just got this deal on a bestseller. Oh yeah.
Usually that means it's going to be really expensive. Well, not at Wayfair.
I just saved so much on this bedding, I feel like I'm sleeping on $1 million.
It makes me want to bring it down now. I can't explain it.
It's hard to explain how it feels getting 70% off, especially 70% off bestsellers. So find what you need at an amazing price at Wayfair.com.
So tell us your big idea for getting the whole country booking on ChoiceHotels.com.
4 words. Bada book, bada boom. Let it sink in.
Shouldn't we say we have the lowest price?
Nope. Bada book, bada boom.
Have you ever stayed with Choice Hotels, like at a Comfort Inn?
Yep. Free waffles. Can't go wrong.
I like it.
Promote that guy.
Get the lowest price on our rooms, guaranteed. When you book direct at ChoiceHotels.com. Book now.
To most people, I look like most people. But on the inside, I feel chronic, widespread pain. Fibromyalgia may be invisible to others, but my pain is real.
Fibromyalgia is thought to be caused by overactive nerves. Lyrica is believed to calm these nerves.
I'm glad my doctor prescribed Lyrica.
For some, Lyrica delivers effective relief for moderate to even severe fibromyalgia pain and improves function. Lyrica may cause serious allergic reactions, suicidal thoughts, or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these, new or worse depression, unusual changes in mood or behavior, swelling, trouble breathing, rash, hives, blisters, muscle pain with fever, tired feeling, or blurry vision. Common side effects: dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, swelling of hands, legs, and feet. Don't drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. Don't drive or use machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Those who've had a drug or alcohol problem may be more likely to misuse Lyrica.
With less pain, I can do more with my family.
Talk to your doctor today. See if Lyrica can help.
Hurricane Irma has made its first landfall, did so an hour and a half ago in the lower Keys in South Florida. Maximum wind gusts just recorded a short time ago at Big Pine Key, the eye of the storm, just to the west of there now. Maximum wind gusts there, 106 miles an hour on Big Pine Key. That's the Keys. That's Key Largo, the upper Keys on the left-hand side of your screen. Early this morning, the Miami Herald reporting the editor of Keynoter and an editor of FloridaKeysNews.com is in a shelter of last resort down there with about 50 other people in Marathon High School. And he says, quoting to the Miami Herald, everything is underwater. I mean everything. And to make matters worse, the Miami Herald adds that one man died in that shelter overnight, as it turns out, of natural causes, but just a horrible set of circumstances there in Marathon Key in the Florida Keys. Eventually, this will become a storm for Southwest Florida, as we mentioned, then for the Tampa Bay, Sarasota area. And Orlando will feel a lot of this as well. Our man Bill Hemmer is in Orlando for us this afternoon. I mean, this morning, Bill, the Disney closed down. You know it's big news when Disney's done.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, very few times they've ever done that in the history of the state of Florida, Shepard. And good morning from Orlando. It is calm here. We await the arrival of Irma. We've been here 3 days now between Orlando, Tampa, back and forth again. And it's a stunning thing, Shepard. Used to live and work in this state. To see the southern half of Florida just frozen in place. Yeah, the highways are empty. Yes, some cars, but mostly empty. The hotels are jammed. Downtown Tampa yesterday and last night was empty on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening in September. That's just something, that's just a sight you do not see. What is amazing to us so far is the level of patience we have seen on behalf of so many who picked up their belongings and came from the southeastern part of the state in Miami and came to Orlando thinking they were out of harm's way. Some of them went further to Tampa, crossing the state to Tampa thinking that they would escape the wrath of Irma, and now they're on the run yet again. So this is anybody's guess right now as to where the impact fully arrives after the Florida Keys. Is it Naples on the southwest? Is it Fort Myers up to Sarasota, St. Pete, or Tampa? We're all waiting to see and frankly guessing to see what happens then. We have been watching and talking to a lot of people too, but just to get their reaction so far, it strikes me that right now you see this level of patience and you wonder how long it will hold out. The shelters now are jammed. More than 400 have opened across the state. 120,000 Floridians have taken advantage of that, and for good reason. You know, Florida Governor Rick Scott started putting out the warnings a week ago, and so many of them have heeded those warnings to save the possibility of their own lives. But these shelters have challenges. They need nurses and they need volunteers by the thousands to make sure that those reporting there get the help that they need and get it on time and possibly for days to come. Never before, Shepard, in the history of recorded storms, have we had 2 Cat 4s make impact on the U.S. mainland in the same season. Yet it's happening now as we stand here today with the arrival of Irma. You know, 1992, Andrew left its mark on this state for a very long time. More than 40 dead, $25 billion in damage 25 years ago. Irma's going to leave a mark, but we're still waiting to see where exactly that is and how deep that scar lasts in the state of Florida and beyond. Back to you.
Bill Hemmer in Orlando, and he'll be with us throughout the duration of this storm. I want to tell you a tornado has just touched down, according to local authorities, in Polk County, Florida. That's the county where Lakeland and Winter Haven are. In the tornado itself, I want to give you the specifics of where it touched down. The southwestern part of that county, so somewhere just north of Bowling Green, I suppose, south and west of Lake Wales. At any rate, thankfully, this tornado touchdown was in an unpopulated area. They don't speak of damages except to the trees and such, but tornadoes are an enormous risk, and there's a tornado watch in effect for most of South Florida for the next 8 hours or so. We've just gotten word from Fort Lauderdale Fire and Rescue. You know, Miami and Miami-Dade no longer responding to report to complaints, 911 calls, requests for service. Now Fort Lauderdale police are not, I should say Fort Lauderdale Fire and Rescue are not either. Fort Lauderdale Fire and Rescue has just notified us that regretfully they've suspended response due to wind strong enough to flip over a truck. That's how high the wind gusts are in Fort Lauderdale. A new Storm Tracker weather update coming to us from our station WSVN 7 in South Florida. Let's listen in here.
Per hour, and that could cause extensive damage to structures. Locations in the path of these strong gusty winds: Miami, Miami Beach, Homestead, Coral Gables, Key Biscayne, South Miami, Homestead Speedway, Black Point Marina, Homestead General Airport, the Redland, Turkey Point, Virginia Key, Kendall, Doral, Pinecrest, Miami Springs, Sweetwater, Florida City, West Miami, and West Chester. This is definitely a strong wind gust feeder band coming through, and we're going to take the opportunity right now to go to the National Hurricane Center. Dr. Michael Brennan, specialist there. Michael, this big feeder band now that's starting to move across the area with wind speeds of 80 to 100 miles per hour. This is going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, this is a really dangerous situation that's now developing here across the Miami metropolitan area. We were sort of eyeing this feeder band earlier. We can see in the radar there's very strong winds aloft in it, and those are going to mix down to the surface, and we can see widespread wind gusts in that 80 to 100 mile per hour range. That could cause a lot of power outage, structural damage at those wind speeds, trees to fall down. So everybody's going to want to stay safe in their safe location throughout the day today and well into the evening before the winds are going to calm down. The other thing that this band is going to do is going to push even more storm surge up along the southeast coast. The tide station in Virginia Key is already reporting about storm surge of about 3 feet above normal tide levels now, and we're coming out of low tide soon. So at this next high tide, we're probably going to see our peak inundation values here along Biscayne Bay, Miami-Dade County coastline.
Now across Miami-Dade and Broward counties, the Keys, I guess your statement that came out said that the hurricane had made landfall by Cudjoe. Yes. Is that correct? 106 miles per hour?
Yeah, Cudjoe Key at 9:10 a.m. here in the lower Keys, and there was a report at the Key Deer Wildlife Refuge on Big Pine Key of a wind gust of 106 miles per hour around 8:30 or 8:40 this morning. It's one of the higher wind gusts we've seen. And the eye has actually become a little better, just more distinct looking on the Key West radar now. So that northern eye wall is now wobbling off to the north of the Keys. And there's a little bit of an eastern eye wall that's starting to touch some of the middle Keys now. So it's still going to be a rough few hours in the Keys. That storm surge, that strong southerly flow pushing water up into the Keys, and now the northerly flow on the backside pushing water into places like Key West. So a very, very dangerous few hours unfolding for many people here in South Florida.
And we want to urge anyone who's down there.
That's the latest from South Florida. Again, that Big Pine Key just after 9 o'clock this morning Eastern time. I want to go to the phones now. Roman Gestesi is with us. He's the county administrator in Monroe County, which is the Florida Keys, and riding out the storm there. Roman, how are you and what are you seeing?
We're doing fine. We're in the very upper part of the Keys in the northern part of Key Largo. We're in a safe, old and flat employee housing building, huge, very strong building. So we're doing fine. And we also heard from our colleagues in Key West and Marathon.
What have you heard from your colleagues down there where the storm is hitting in earnest?
We were on the phone. We have a conference call every couple hours with Key West about 20 minutes ago, and they were doing fine. Their spirits were up. They were getting beat up pretty bad, but they were doing fine. They were, you know, like I said, we were able to talk to them, so it was good news.
A lot of concern about Big Pine and the middle Keys there. Do you have an idea for how many comps stayed behind?
We don't. There's all kinds of spots, but I can tell you that I was driving up and down the Keys the last couple of days and didn't see many people, especially after, you know, what night it dated is 2 nights ago when it looked like it was staying south. There was a steady flow of people, last minute folks leaving, so that's good news. So it's hard to estimate, but there were a lot of people that left.
And what about power? My understanding is about 3/4 of the Keys are without power now.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I see that. We're in the upper area. We don't have power, so from here south, I doubt anybody has any power. So I'd be surprised if anybody has any power in the Keys, but you never know.
Official landfall has been made in Cudjoe Key. Tell us about that small key.
It's a beautiful area, Cudjoe Key. Very nice, beautiful homes on canals. There's all kinds of folks that live there. I guess the good news, I'm sure if they're listening, they're not going to want to hear this, but the good news is that it's not as populated as some of the other areas. You know, for example, down in Key West, we have 25,000 people living. In Marathon, about 10,000. And that area is probably just a couple thousand spread out over a wide area. So, if anything, the silver lining is that it's an area that doesn't have a highly populated, you know, folks there.
Middle Torch Key, Big Pine, that's all down there. No Name Key is another. My understanding was these keys, except for heavy conks with boats around that they don't want to leave are mostly evacuated.
I think so. I think that those folks evacuated. Again, when I was driving by, I didn't see much activity there. And the ones that stayed, there are some very well-built homes, fortified homes, people that build them, high, 10, 12 feet high, and concrete structures. So some of those folks might have stayed behind, and I'm sure they're doing fine. Getting a beating, but they're probably going to survive this well. So we're worried about the folks that stayed, in homes that can't handle something like this, and of course the water. You can't run from the water. So it's going to be interesting. We're in Key Largo, just jumping out of our skin, trying to get out of here so we can go help out. And we've got helicopters ready to take us. We've got equipment staged all through and pre-positioned all through the keys, heavy equipment, so we can clear the roads as soon as possible and get the airport runways open so we can get down there.
It's going to be a while for sure. With this west-northwest movement at 8 miles an hour, we could have 12 more hours of no way to get out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can keep these first responders 6 to 12 more hours. These guys are, these guys want to get out there and help out. So we've got a bunch of really dedicated folks all over the keys, and they want to get out there and see what the damage is and help our fellow conks, like we call ourselves down here.
Indeed, we'll be thinking about all the conk nation down there for the next many hours, and wait to see what this storm has left behind. It's great to talk to you. All the best to you, and thanks to those first responders who are at the ready.
They're ready. They're ready. Thank you for the coverage.
Totally. A live look, WSVN 7. That's North Bay Village. Coming up here. That's the center, 79th Street in Miami, right along Biscayne Bay, and a live look from WSVN 7 in South Florida. Irma has made landfall in the Florida Keys. It's official. Here, henceforth, when you look at this in Wikipedia in a year, you'll see that this storm made first landfall in the United States at Cudjoe Key. Just to the west of Isla Dorada, at just after 9 o'clock in the morning, and it will be a very long day and into the night. We're not expecting there will be a second landfall, according to the meteorologists. If it's in southwest Florida along the Naples, Collier County, Lee County, Charlotte County line, which is the lower left of your screen there. If it's there, it'll be in 6, 7, 8 hours. If it goes higher, it could be nightfall around Tampa. And if it continues over the Gulf of Mexico, potential for strengthening is there. And this could eventually become a storm that goes even farther up the coast. The truth is the meteorologists do not know. These storms wobble and move left and right as they go forward. And exactly where those wobbles are going to happen, which would create landfall, is unknown. And the reason that matters so much is because the strongest, most powerful winds of all are wrapped around that tight center, the center of that eye, just all along the walls of that eye. That's where the worst of the winds are, with the most destructive winds. And certainly the storm surge is going to be a problem for a very long time. Our coverage continues in just a moment.
Our equipment cleans like no one else's, with no harmful residue left behind. And our cleaning solution meets rigorous EPA Safer Choice standards.
That's why I call.
Call or go online for our $99 special.
Stanley Steamer, your certified cleaner.
Statins lower cholesterol, but could also lower your body's natural CoQ10. Cunol helps restore this heart-healthy nutrient with 3 times better absorption. Cunol has the #1 cardiologist-recommended form of CoQ10. Cunol, the better CoQ10.
Identity theft can happen to anyone.
My savings account and my checking accounts were both drained. All of my money was gone.
I could not believe that somebody would steal my tax refund. It made me angry.
She had my social security number, and she was able to make a purchase for $8,000.
Today's technology makes identity theft easier and easier. If you use a smartphone, shop online, use public Wi-Fi, or fill out forms or applications, you're at risk. There's a new victim of identity fraud every 2 seconds. 1 in 4 people have already experienced it. Is there anything you can do about it?
I called LifeLock.
Millions of people have already become members. LifeLock's proprietary technology scans hundreds of millions of transactions each second to spot threats to your identity. If we detect your information being used, you get an alert. If you have a problem, a U.S.-based restoration agent will work to fix it. And you'll be covered by LifeLock's $1 million protection package, including lawyers and experts if needed, and reimbursement of stolen funds and personal expenses up to the limits of your plan.
You have this whole team of people on your side, and you know that you don't have to go it alone.
And unlike free credit monitoring that